Hey, welcome back to another episode of Derelict Endeavors. And as you can see, it's still fucking snowing. Today's Sunday, April the 15th, and we got absolutely dumped with snow considering there was literally nothing, and it has been warm for like the past 3 weeks. We just got fucking pounded with this shit. So I'm gonna get a little bit done today. Hopefully, I'll be out here till it gets too cold. Then I'll go inside and have some beer. All right. So as you can see, these are the tie rods off of my S10. They actually fit pretty well. I'm just gonna remount these holes a little bit so they fit better. And then I have these. These are just from Princess Auto, the little I don't know, like rod ends, whatever the fuck you want to call them. And then these are just fine thread bolts from crappy tire. And these will go like this. So that'll go there, get welded there. This one will get welded there. And then from there, the shaft will come up, it'll get trimmed. I'll put on that collar, and I'll weld the pitman arm to that, bolt these to it. Fucking burr. Holy shit, it's fucking cold. I won't be out here for very long today, I can tell you that much. Okay, so now you can see I've made the pitman arm. This is the pitman arm, that's what I'm going to call it, so from the end of the steering. Now this collar is going to weld like that. And then you've got 2 inner tie rods. These ends are going to weld to here. And I'm trying to do it so the adjustment of the length is kind of in the middle, so I'll be able to go out a couple turns and in a couple turns, depending on how the steering is and how it finally settles, right? So that's what I'm aiming for. Now I've just cleaned up the end of the outer tie rods where I'm going to have to weld. So I'm going to back these off, I'm going to weld them on, and then I'll weld this collar on. Okay, so this Go Mediocre's really pissing me off. I've got the bolts tacked to the end of the outer tie rods now, and I just tacked them because I want to make sure that they're all straight and they don't have a bend in them. But they're pretty good if you look down at. Now, because I'm using keyed shaft, before I go ahead and I weld the that collar to the pitman arm and to the shaft, see, I want to make sure that my steering wheel is sitting where I want it. I want this to be perfectly in the bottom, which, thanks to gravity, it is, because when I get down to this end, just by picking this up, you can see the shaft is on this side. So now I want to make sure that when I weld this pitman arm, I want the key to be on this side, because this is facing backwards, right? Because if I did it like this, then guess what? This would be facing up, and I don't want that, and if I did this, it'd be facing sideways. So I want to weld it there. And as long as it's kind of close, I've got play in those, whatchamacallit, in the tie rods, right? So as long as it's close, it'll be okay. I've got adjustment. Okay guys, I had to change one thing. You see the shaft here? I was going to have that parallel this frame. But instead of doing that, I'm going to have it come down on this angle, because when I had it paralleling this, there wasn't enough room to have the pitman arm come up. It had to go down. And when the pitman arm was down, I don't know how you can see that because of the light. When the pitman arm was down, these tie rods were on a huge angle, which was allowing the wheel to get to a point where the tie rod would actually flip around forwards and the wheel would lock sideways, which isn't good. So I just flipped this around, like I literally just undid the bolts and spun it 180. But now because I've done that, my steering wheel's upside down. So I'm going to cut these tack welds off. I'm going to flip this 180 degrees, and then I'm going to tack it back on, double check it again, and then that'll be good. And then I just need to make a bracket that comes down from this frame here that stops it from going from side to side. And then that will make sure that all the movement in my steering column is transferred to the tie rods and not this piece flopping. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright guys, well, I stopped recording for a bit. My battery just kept dying because it's so cold. I've got 3 batteries, but they just don't stay charged in this cold weather. So I left the camera inside, and I actually ended up redoing the steering because I'm a fucking idiot. Remember when I said I flipped the pitman arm the other way around because it fit better? Well, there was a reason why I had it the way it was, and I didn't even think about that before I flipped it. Basically, when I flipped it, it made the steering backwards. So, turning the steering wheel right made the tires turn left. So that was no good. It's hard to see. God damn. Yes. Yes. Look onto it. Look at it. Steering wheel, it doesn't quite sit the way I want it, but you know what? I don't give a fuck. So, let's have a look. If you come down here, you'll be able to see what I had to do. Ouch. That just hit me in the ass. So, I ended up cutting this tab off that holds the bottom side of the shaft. The hole was too big, so it was wobbling around. I cut it off, and I moved the shaft closer to the motor mount. Then, there was 2 gussets coming from the frame up to the bottom of the motor mount, one here, and this piece here, which I put in, and it just went down to here. I cut all that out so that I could tuck this shaft up much higher, and then that would allow me to have the pitman arm going down the way it needs to be without having the tie rods on such a wicked angle that they wouldn't work properly. So that's what I've done, and now the steering works pretty damn well. It'll work better when there's weight on it, but see if I can show you here. Woot. Woot. See, like, yeah, when there's no weight on it, it likes to roll that front axle, but you kind of get the point. I've got to redo the braces on the bottom of the motor mount that I cut off. And if you look from the front, you can see the pitman arms are on an angle, but they aren't as bad as it used to be, so that's much better. I like that. Well, yeah, that's all I care to do for today. Yeah, it should be just fine the way it is. One thing I might do is I might cut this piece off and pull the shaft up more, but I think it's just fine the way it is. But yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I guess it's like 5 o'clock now. I guess it's time for a beer, isn't it? Reach into my Canadian cooler, grab myself a nice quality Busch, which has probably got ice chunks in it because it's fucking freezing out here, and the last one did. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. And remember, if it ain't fucking Derelict, you ain't doing it right.